Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
The original intention of the film was just for my personal use, but I thought with it being such a unique thing that I'd like to offer it to anybody who wants to see it. Things like that. And it's just a unique film of him.
He says, I beat you. He says, they say we came in under the dead heat. He says, that's not true because I beat you. And the American said, well, he says, if you like to think so, he says, but I know the real story. He says, I know I clearly won that one. See?
I told you before to come and get me, didn't see semi-automatics, but I see plenty of these faggots coming through claiming niggas skills and they don't really have it. Y'all don't really want it with take. Addicts, records got my bag, the fact that's all I really need. I don't need start or fuck having a platinum plaque. When I got Doc Cap and IBS, we got hot on the train. No more beefing and no more diss. I finally got all the monkeys off my back. Stick on the floor and y'all already got all the money that you say you got. I don't really care, don't say what I want, so maybe one of these days I'm making shot. I blew up fast, these people ever thought I would've could. The kid when I heard y'all try to shoot me down, but still I stood. Y'all already know I stand tall, I can't fall.
mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah, it's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this to all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work.
Bringing you sex, sass, and style. Buckle up and unlock your imagination for a fun adventure with these death-dealing dames. They sail the galaxy in search of spoils. The most dangerous acquisition, and the most fruitful, are the legendary Splinters of Yggdrasil. The Splinters are magical artifacts forged from the Tree of Life that wreak havoc on the universe. The missions are perilous, but the bounty is glorious. Enjoy our hyper-fictional wonderland. How is a pirate ship sailing through space? 'Cause magic. How do they heal so quickly after battle? 'Cause magic. How are they able to communicate through jewelry? 'Cause magic. It's all about the characters. Abo, rough, robotic, ready. Mo, carefree, callous, courageous. Mistress Graven, daring, diplomatic, dominating. Betsy, academic, accountable, aristocratic. Nefara, ancient, assured, adrenaline junkie. Bruto, proud, prominent, protective. Fisty, independent, incendiary, invigorating. Roxy, superficial, scarred, secretive. Once you get to know this diverse crew of mythical miscreants, you'll be anxious to find out what trouble they'll get into on the next episode. Go to abogrizzly.com and order both halves of the first episode today.
The Madness Comic Network and Comic Related Madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
What the heck? I put the thing up. Did it go back up there? Oh, pushing the buttons. Here I am. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to the Tuesday Morning Brew. We are here with our caffeinated drinks, and we're going to have quite a show today. We're going to have all the crew. We're going to have a special guest, but it's getting close to Halloween, so I'm really excited, man. I'm looking forward to, dressing up in costumes. I do my best to kind of like tone down the scariness because my kids are still little. So it's like I can't go all out, but it's like at least my comic book gives me that chance to kind of express all the dark, crazy things that I have in my brain. Like if you haven't seen some of the stuff here, let me show you this, guys. It's really cool.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, so we released a picture of the Skinner yesterday, which is a really nasty character that you get to match wits against in the Choose Your Own Adventure story. So if you haven't been over to Path of the Pale Rider issue number 2 Kickstarter, go make sure that you get a copy of that Choose Your Own Adventure book. Good morning, Professor. I know, isn't it cool? I love that one. I just did it yesterday, so yeah, it's a good time. So today's episode is brought to you by the letter K for Karambit. I have a new weapon I'll be flipping today. So if you see me flipping weapons, this is kind of the new one for this week. This is a very lovely trainer Karambit. It has some purple heartwood, handmade for me by a friend of mine named Taki Kabir. Super nice blade. So if you're interested in weapons like I am, bit blades. All right, let's start bringing people in.
I'm looking for a man who
You have found one.
Won't you get in trouble if the boss shows up?
Oh no, is the boss here? Hey, wait, I'm the boss.
Stick him up, please. Smoke, if you wish.
Come on! Damn, that hurts, doesn't it?
You know what's up. You know.
Good morning. It's such a great entrance. You know what I mean? You got Roadhouse. You got all sorts of stuff in there.
Doc just loaded that one up. I mean, really, like El Kabong. El Kabong.
Yeah.
Was, I said I gotta have El Kabong in there. Because that was my favorite cartoon character when I was a kid. Hit him with the guitar. Oh hell yeah! I was that guy's right. So that and the song, I wanted
in
right
the song.
now. I wanted right now.
Yeah.
Everything that's happening that matters is happening
right now. So yes. Anything new with you, sir, that you want to share?
Man, it's all action around here. We just keep building.
Oh, that's right. How many shows have we added to the network? I wanted to bring that up.
Ginge and Pedro we're not just going to simulcast them now. They're actually going to come in so that they can go out to more platforms. And we're doing the same thing with Brian's Horror Show. We're bringing that one in. So basically we're going to have Paul an hour break and then Ginge and Pedro and then Brian Christgau like bing, bing to finish the night out. Right.
Cool.
So Tuesday is getting kind of full.
Yeah.
I'm liking the way Tuesday and Wednesday are turning out. And I understand why those are the days. Because people that actually do cons.
Yep.
They can't commit to always being able to do a show on the weekend.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I know. So someone was like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, I'm going to a con. And they're like, oh.
So they're snatching up all those time slots Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get that, We'll figure stuff out. Don't worry. I mean, at least one weekend of the month, we're going to be full of content. Right?
Absolutely.
Con next weekend, baby. Be there.
Yeah. Well, 2 weekends, right? This weekend is the 22nd, 23rd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I was like, oh my God, it can't be this weekend because I'm not going to be there. The last weekend of the month, people. We're going to be there.
Whether I can remember what day that is or not.
You can't miss my countdown party. We're closing down CrownCon and we're going to party. So it'll be a nice night. So
it's going to be amazing. The link is pinned to the top of the YouTube chat over there. If you want to come out and join us after we run through this guest, we drag this guest down through there. No, I'm kidding.
Chris seems like a good sport, though. So
he's been here before. He knows how this works.
Yeah, we tried to scare him away, but it didn't work. So
it could get ugly, baby.
Nah, it's not gonna get ugly. We might die, but
you do know what this means, right?
Ugly?
What this stands for?
No.
You gotta love yourself.
Oh, I would never guess that. I just saw ugly.
If you don't love yourself, you're miserable. You're gonna be miserable. You're gonna make everybody around you miserable.
This is true.
Find something you do that you love that makes you happy, and love yourself, man.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a motto to live by, people. Okay, we're gonna bring in Chris. Dun 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 dun. Dun.
How's
Chris,
everybody
hey,
doing?
good morning.
Thanks for having me. And no, you couldn't scare me off.
Nah, we tried. We were like, we're just letting you know it's a crazy place. We heard cats here, but you know, you're welcome to come and give us new face and new perspective.
Well,
So,
yeah, thanks for having me. I've been in a lot of crazy positions in my life, so we're good.
well, tell us, sir, who are you? For the people that are not familiar with Chris and your project, tell us about that.
Okay. I'm Chris, Christopher Michael, Christopher Saloff. If you can say my last name, cool. If not, just stick with Christopher Michael. I created Crit a couple years ago. It's based off of a D&D game that I created for my friends. And I record the sessions, storyboard everything, draw it out, put letters on it, and then put it out there. Everything that happens in the book happened at the table. Everything that's said is said by the people in the book.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that is said in this comic, I was just cracking up. I was like, what? Whoever plays Caliber is just so funny. Boulder's funny too, but Caliber makes me laugh, like for sure. He's just so sarcastic and like gratuitous violence is his thing. And anyway, continue.
And he's a police officer in real life. Explains it.
That's
he works. He's actually a detective, and he works in like vehicle and drug repossessions and things. So he sees a lot of stuff that nobody wants to see. So I think that tends to lean to his outlook. we'll say. So yeah, that's my book. It's based off of D&D. So we play once a month. We've been playing for about 4 years now, and we got about 42 issues in the works total. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me.
Holy moly!
Yeah, I taught myself how to draw in order to do the comic books. It wasn't something that was a plan.
Really?
I didn't wake up one day and go, I want to be a comic book guy. I just woke up and said, cool, I want to draw my friends being stupid. And kind of took off. So it's been really cool. I'll just put it that way. We went from just a bunch of guys hanging out playing D&D together to now in this venture of creating comic books and D&D related games to now, like I showed you, energy drinks. Just got our first branded energy drink right there. And
that's so cool, man.
We've got the statues that I've made for my Kickstarters. We've got a few of these now.
Nice. Who's making those?
There's a company that does 3D print, Zig Designs. They design it, and I've found a couple local printers that actually one of them, I pay $80 a month and I can go print as much as I want. And so I just take over a couple different machines and go in 3D print. That's been fun. But this is my pride right here.
That's so cool.
Yep. Our talking cat turned him into a stuffed animal. Actually, the first time I got on Pop's show is when I started promoting this one. And
what's that cat's name? Baron. What's the cat's name? Baron
Samedi.
Samedi.
Yep.
I was like, he's gonna have to say that one out loud for me.
Yeah, he became popular probably because he's like everybody else's cat. He's kind of a prick, but he has a drinking problem.
He drinks alcohol out of a cat dish and smokes cigars. People,
exactly,
That's
exactly. Yeah, he's my character kind of. I created Samedi because the character Spectre is based off of like a wizard warlock class, and he wanted a familiar. And in real life, Austin plays D&D. He's a dungeon master. He knows ins and outs of the game. And to keep him from being too powerful, I had to limit him. Well, in real life, he's allergic to cats. So his godlike being that follows him around is a cat. So it can't be out all the time where he sneezes and takes all these negative. So, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. That is hilarious. That cat made me laugh. Like, your characters make me laugh. the fact that they're like self-aware to a point where like at one point, I think in one of the first issues, you were like, the Mouse House is going to be upset when they see this. Like, because it's like straight up Captain America pose. Like, I was going to ask you, I'm like, for some of the poses, are you looking at action movies?
I take inspiration from everything.
Yeah.
In the early books, I had a drawing figure that I would pose however I wanted. But my guys actually give me a lot of feedback. So especially Caliber and Boulder, both of them individually have training in different forms of, Caliber, for instance, he's actually trained in 7 different forms of martial arts. He's working on creating his own right now.
Cool.
So he gives me a lot of posing ideas for fight scenes. And
That's
then
awesome.
the guy who plays Boulder is actually an Olympic class wrestler in the state of North Carolina. He coaches wrestling now, and he's been very, involved in all that in Boone, North Carolina. So they give me a lot of ideas in the book, like, oh, my character should be doing this or doing this, and they'll send me pictures of them doing it. So
we're coming, Doc. We're coming. Okay.
Yeah, that's where I get a lot of my stuff from, is just them directly. Luckily,
Gotcha.
I have guys that just love the idea that their stupidity is enjoyable.
And it is. It's really funny, people. Let's let Doc in so then we can continue our conversation. Here it is.
So just sit right down, relax, open your ears real wide and say, give it to me straight, doctor. I can take it.
Kick the chops out from under the wheels. Flaps up. No offense, Margaret. Contact. We're off. Brum, brum.
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. How are you?
I was watching my YouTube screen, and it kept saying "upcoming" the Brew. It never said live, so I'm out there drawing and working.
YouTube is such a joke.
It's like
we've been live. We're going on 23 minutes. What's going on, YouTube? Catch up.
I felt so violated by that. I may never recover. I may need therapy.
Sorry.
No, it's hard to miss out on 20 minutes of any of our shows. It's devastating.
And hail, Laurie. Hail,
Hello.
Pops. Hello.
Good morning, my friend.
This is
How you doing?
Chris from Crit.
Hi, Chris from Grit.
Chris has been on the show before, Doc. But
Yeah.
I think it was probably before you became part of the network. He's been on a few of our shows a few times in the past. You know, he's coming around with the 7th book in his series. So
nice.
And Chris, I feel like I've been kind of following you around because I also I use Jeff Haas as a publicist. So it's like I see you go on a show and then like I come on a show and then you're on a show and then I came on a show. So it's like I was following you around, but I never really got to like interact with you. So I'm glad that you're here and we actually get to like talk and hang out.
Yeah, I've seen your name a bunch of times and I'm like, oh, cool. So I'm with Laurie today. Awesome.
Yeah.
One of the funniest things for me is when somebody gets a hold of me to ask me if somebody else can be on my show, and it's like, I know that guy. He can ask me. You don't need nobody to ask for him. It's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I work so much.
That they've set this guy up to schedule shows for him and stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, well that's cool, but you can just hit me up. I'll put you on the show. You don't gotta pay nobody to get on my show. You know what I mean?
In the
wait a minute. Why did I pay you?
You pay me in time, Doc, and it'll never end.
No, so
like you're stuck here, Doc.
I've been working 2 jobs, and my second job just became a time suck for me.
Ooh.
And with the way my calendar works, I was having a lot of problems booking and taking care of stuff. So I met Jeff, and Jeff just, hey, here's a date and time, and sends me a calendar invite. It goes right on my calendar, and I don't even lose anything. So, I mean, one thing that we creators always lack is this ability to we're creating a comic book, we're promoting our comic book, we're working our full-time job. Some of us are artists, some of us are writers, whatever we're doing. And then on top of it, trying to market and do his other stuff is tough. So having Jeff take that over for me and just be like, hey, this is the show you're on here. And I send him some, like, he'll send me show ideas like, hey, this one. Do you want me to reach out? And I'll say, yeah, that one's cool. That one's cool. Go ahead and get me on there.
All right, we're cool. Yeah.
I always have a fun time. And you like metal. So, of course, you got me right there. I'm a metal guy at heart. So actually, so last weekend I played my final show with my band. We did a final reunion show and closed that out. That was really cool. We did First in Flight Fest in North Carolina.
Nice.
Really,
Guitar, bass, sing. What do you do? Drummer?
I play guitar.
There's a guitar behind you.
Yep.
Hello.
There's a few more. Just they're packed up right now because I haven't even unpacked all my equipment from the show.
Gotcha.
I wound up actually borrowing a 7-string for the first time because we tuned everything down to like drop A so we could have some really heavy breakdowns.
Oh, Lord.
That's
a deep drop.
Yep. We did some 808 bass drops and all these cool things that, we haven't done in like 20 years. So we played on Saturday and then I was icing my knees and sleeping all day Sunday.
Yep.
I got out of it when I realized that lugging my gear up and down a flight of steps was becoming too much.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that's it. I'm done.
That's why you need roadies. You need someone that can just do it for you, lug all your crap.
Towards the end of when we were playing, literally just had, like, paid people like, here's a ticket and a beer. Bring my stuff up the stairs.
Right, exactly. That's the way to do it. Like, you want something to eat? Carry this up the stairs.
Packing into a show is no problem. You can offer beer, you can offer, tickets, whatever. It's when you have to unpack at home.
Yeah, dude.
That's true.
That always sucks.
You had to hold your stuff after the show.
It's like, Pops, where did you go? You're just off the screen talking from the distance?
He's walking around.
We can't hear you.
So I want to say hey to Stephen B. Good to see you. Glenn Fleming. Good to see you. Green Ranger. Wow. All the cool kids are. Chris Brown. All the cool kids are here.
I'm going to say the link is posted, you guys. If you want to hop on, you can. We can just keep talking.
Popped in early.
Yeah.
Simon Potier, our boy from over there at the Natverse. He's in the chat too.
And the legendary Glenn Fleming of Hatch fame over in the UK.
Absolutely. I like how we put my name up there. It isn't just Laurie, it's Laurie. So it's like, thank you. I steal your heart. I might steal your kidneys for the black market.
I didn't know Doc was in the chat. What's up, Doc?
He was like, I'm waiting. Stop talking me in. And then we went off the rails. Chris was talking about his project and we let talking, and now it's like, who cares?
It's my job to derail things. It's what I do.
Oh man. So
keeps the conversation fun.
We
my book is chaos as it is. That's why it's called Caffeinated Chaos in this issue, where this is the 7th book and we just broke in 2 years. So that's, to me, that's freaking awesome. I don't know a lot of creators that have hit 7 books, and I know how hard it is. So I'm proud that I got a group of guys that I can manipulate into helping me write books.
But it's so fun because you don't really have to do like the thinking or the writing. They just kind of like naturally do that for you.
Yep.
And it's hilarious. That's what makes it so unique, is like, it's not like it's from Chris's brain. It's like these guys get together and act out stuff, and it's just, it's so funny. Like some of the stuff that Caliber says, they're like, we weren't supposed to kill people. He's like, he's still alive, and he's like, well, he's gonna bleed out. He's like, well, he should just crawl faster. I'm like, oh my god.
The idea of writing a book about a good D&D campaign, it's been around forever. But here's the thing that separates the boys from the men in this: it's really hard to edit all that good content down into one cohesive story.
To what's actually the story and what's cracking jokes on the side. And,
And so kudos to you that you have successfully managed to corral that chaos.
Yes.
Thank you. I didn't realize how awesome it was until like the past few months when I started looking back and seeing the progress the book has made, and then looking at the recordings that I have and going, wow, most people would just not want to do this, because I spent about a week before I even go to the storyboarding process listening to 4 to 6 hours of this chaos over and over again, because I like to remember the flow. Like I'll be at the gym on a treadmill and I'll just be listening. I'm like, oh, that's something cool that needs to stay, and I'll make a note. Or I'll just be driving and I'll hear something and I'll, make a voice note to myself, like, remember this piece. And I try to eliminate a lot of stuff that is jarring for a reader. The stupid interpersonal conversations we have, just like, oh, my kid did this week, or, my job sucks, something like that. Eliminate those things. Or, like when we have characters that just want to go off and do something completely off the cuff, stupid, that has nothing to do with the story.
That's me.
It's fun sometimes. There's a lot of the story content actually comes from those moments, but there's sometimes where it just doesn't go anywhere, which is fine for D&D, but for a reader, I don't want to put something out there if it doesn't have a payoff. So, like, even in this book, there was a story element where 2 of the characters wanted to go just to a bar and do something really dumb, and it didn't have any payoff. They actually wound up giving up on the idea after a little while and coming back to everybody else. So I had to rewrite some of their story pieces using elements from the actual game that we were playing anyway. I'm like, well, this would fit them here. So instead of having them divert and do something dumb, let's just transplant them into these places. And when I'm done with like my process, I send it to the guys. Actually, Boulder and Caliber, I send it to them and I say, hey, what do you think? Because they have degrees in writing and history, and plus they're uber nerds that love to criticize everything. So I figure if they can get through my stuff, we'll be fine. They've really helped refine a lot of the storytelling elements. Because
that may be the best job description for an editor I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, and nerds
Uber
who love to rip
nerds
stuff
that
to
criticize
crap.
everything.
Yep, that is them. I call them Big Filter and Little Filter because I send it through Big Filter first, which is Terrell, because he's more like in my realm of things, and then Brad literally hates everything, so then it goes to him, and he picks out all the stuff that really just, he's like, no, this is dumb, we don't need to do this. Or even with the artwork, I'll send him something and he'll just put X's. No, this is not how the hand should be. If you karate chops, he sent me a message. He was like, I really want you one day to karate chop me in the throat like you do in this picture. And I was like, why? He goes, because you're going to break your hand and it's going to be funny. And so I was like, well, how do I do that then? And he sends me a picture with a dummy, and he's
probably a bob.
And he's like, this is how this works. And I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
He goes, yeah, because I wouldn't want to break my hand. And then he even nitpicks like the hand that he has his knife in, if he's using a knife. Like, and he'll circle like, where did my knife go in between these panels? And I'm like, well, you switched hands. He goes, well, you didn't show me switching the hands. So if you don't want to show me switching the hands, then put it in the right hand. So
Hail Shadowhawk. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, he's
Shadowhawk.
He's great. So, I tell everybody, I have no ego in this. When I taught myself how to draw in order to do this, and the first run I had at comic book drawing wasn't nearly as good as it is now. I'm still proud of the work I put into it. But my wife, who's a phenomenal artist, ripped my work apart and destroyed me and made me a better artist. So if you look at it, I have the trade paperback here, and I'll show you. I printed the original comic in here that she really ripped apart. I don't know if you can see this, but this.
Oh, we'll make sure we can see it.
Yeah.
This is my first try at comic book art right here.
I mean, it's not bad.
No, it's not terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted to take a run at it, and then now we're here.
Right,
and
which is a big difference. It's a big,
and see, that's the whole thing, though. Some of us fans love to see that progression.
Yes,
that's what we want. Yeah. We want to know that you're getting better and better. That means the next book is going to be better.
Right.
And it shows like I'm dedicated to this. That's a big thing for me as a reader when I'm getting invested in something. Knowing that who's ever producing it is as invested in it as I am. Mm-hmm. And so I like everyone to know that, you know, I've put myself through the gauntlet. I've had my friends rip apart my stuff, my wife rip apart my stuff. So before it gets in anybody's hands, it's gone through quite a bit of me getting beat up until it gets done.
It also goes.
Being refined. It's being refined, just like any kind of precious metal where it comes with impurities, and everybody gets to like be a sieve, or you go through the mesh, and it's like you get the refined product at the end. And that's what we have to do as artists. You don't get any better if you don't take any criticism.
It also goes back to my statement, my firm belief that anyone can be an artist if you're willing to shed the tears.
Yes.
Mhm.
We got to put in the time. You got to put in. I mean, like my Choose Your Own Adventure is sitting at my editor's desk right now. And she's like, I'm going to fill it up with red and send it to you. And I'm like, cool. She's like, don't be offended. I'm like, I'm not. The whole point is to have a great book. You know what I mean? And if I messed it up somewhere, I need you to tell me that so I can go fix it. Right. I mean, that's why I hire you, sir, ma'am. You know, it's like, I'm not hiring you to blow smoke up my butt. And then I can turn out a book. Everybody's like, what the hell? Can't even read this. You know,
My
we
wife
want it
is,
to be a good product.
She's a phenomenal artist, and she's a photographer. So she's used to, you know, body placement, you know, all those things.
Yeah.
And she got a lot of background in, you know, anatomy drawing. So when I first started, you know, she literally would take my pages, circle them, erase them, hand them back to me, fix this, and she would draw all over everything. And I mean, it was a little depressing at first because I was really excited about what I was doing, and I'd be really proud with the page. And then she'd come in and be like, his leg looks like it's broken. And I'm like, but it's comic books. And she's like, but do you want your comic work to be right, or do you want it to be wrong? She's like, you need to decide that early on, because if you're going to just always draw wrong, that's fine. And that's
right.
You know, and she said that, you know, there's a lot of artists out there, especially the 90s, when you had muscle on muscle on muscle and things that didn't exist.
Right.
And she said that was the style, and that's what worked for those artists, and that's what they continued with, and that was what they did. She's like, but you kind of mix both together. You want the leg to go this way, but you want to be correct. And so she's like, you need to figure out how you want to do it.
You have to refine your method as well.
Right. And my guys really wanted it to look correct. So I was like, well, I guess I got to learn how to draw correct.
Well, I mean, when you got a bunch of martial artists that you're dealing with, they're going to want you to be correct. I'm the same way. Like, I've done martial arts for 25 years. So it's like when we have a fight scene, I'm very specific about what it needs to look like. To the point where I'm trying to explain technique where I'm like, screw that. I'm just going to video what I want, and you can watch the video and you can see the fight. You know what I mean? Yep. So that's what we do is we give Marco references. This is what this fight looks like. So it just depends on what style, you know, the characters are doing, whether they're brawlers or wrestlers or knife fighters or gunslingers. It just, you know what I mean? So you have to be able to portray the style of that character through the video so that the artist can do it effectively. I would really want to play your video. What's that?
You and Brad, who's Caliber, you guys would get along in real life.
Oh, I'm sure we would. When you were describing it, I was just like, yeah, this is why. And I love his humor too. So I'm like, that's me. So I would love to play this video, or let's do that. Let's go.
Number these.
That's all my guys right there.
Wow, you don't know my number. Okay, hang on. Well, I'm gonna end up asking the same question 500 times.
Nice.
Get ready.
Ask the question, and then we'll kind of. Well, first we should probably go through and do like an introduction, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
If you ever played D&D, you understand how hard it is to rally up all the people.
Yeah, I'm over here like, okay, what else? Here we go. Ready? Are we recording?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I left
awesome.
because I wanted to see how raw
Thank you guys for being here today. We are going to talk all things crit issue number 5, intestinal fortitude. Today we have Chris Michael, the creator and awesomeness of all things crit. We have Brad Haynes Caliber. He is awesome. We have Austin. Do you guys want me to roll with last names? Austin, who is Spectre, and we have Terrell, who is Boulder, and then we have Kid over here, who is Bones. So today we're going to be asking you guys a couple questions, getting a little bit of your backstory. I mean, I have loved watching this progression from this idea to creation to completion and production. So thank you guys for being here today. And we're just going to start with some questions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. What have you each learned from issue 0?
Yeah, this is kind of long if you want to.
Holy, that thing is 72 minutes long.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Woo!
Yeah, I was going to tell you. I left that up for everybody because it's tough to get my guys in a room to talk about everything at once if we're not playing D&D, and they keep to themselves. They have a wall up with social media. So I was glad I got them to come in and talk about everything to do with their characters, because a lot of people don't honestly realize how emotionally connected you can become to a character in a fantasy game like D&D.
Yes.
You know, this game, aside from being fun and chaos and stupid, we hadn't been together in 10 years. Some of us hadn't talked in 10 years. We had gone and done our own lives. But one thing we always enjoyed doing was playing D&D. So right in 2019, I called everybody and said, hey, let's play superhero D&D. We talked about it 10 years ago. We never got to do it. And they were all in. You know, we like I said, some of us had gotten married, had kids, didn't talk to anybody anymore.
Yeah.
And at the table, we had so much fun. That's what made me want to make it into this book. Was we talked about the campaign for a month. And I just was like, I have to draw some of this. You know, I have to put this on paper so we have this memory. And it just snowballed. And now they're, for instance, you know, you see Boulder. He lost 40 pounds when I started drawing him like a superhero, because he's like, well, if my kids are going to see me in a book as a superhero, he's like, I coach wrestling. I do this anyway. I need to get in shape. This is motivation for me to look like a superhero. And
Amen, brother. That's awesome.
Yeah, even Brad's, you know, he trains, he does martial arts, and he's a police officer. So he's always active, but he's like, you know, I could be in better shape too. So he's like, I'm a superhero now. I want to, you know, look like a superhero. And Austin does, he does conventions and everything. So he just got back from Comic-Con in New York, where he was running tables. He's big into PAX and all this other stuff. And now he has a character that he gets to cosplay as. So he plays as himself at these conventions.
That's awesome.
And so
I want to show up on a stream someday to dress as my characters too, because I have a whole getup that's from my world. So I just want to like show up and be like, hey,
right?
That's fun, right?
There's nothing better than being able to be your own character. So,
right.
You know, I've been asked if we would ever release like the raw footage.
Having your own character's avatar. Look at
that.
Look at that.
Why don't you need arms like that, Pops? Go start working out.
I'm working on getting
there,
the kingpin physique.
Look at that. Look at those guns.
So far, so good.
You're working on kingpin, Doc.
You don't like my
They're almost there.
I'm sorry. I like it.
Anyways.
I don't have a character, so I don't.
I was gonna say, what do you cosplay as?
I play all the NPCs. Like if you read the book, the cat's me. So I got to work on being Harry. I'm Italian, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Jeez.
But like Richter's loosely based on me. But he's he's more of a mix of my personality and a guy that I was working with who was a military veteran. And he was such a good guy, but it took me so long to like break his outer shell and figure out who he was and his like backstory that when I created Richter, you know, they work with this guy. He's, you know, invested in them, you know, moving forward and being successful. He's invested in that portion, but he also thinks they're a bunch of idiots. So like they annoy the crap out of him. And eventually he starts to warm up to them. And, you know, if you read book to book, you kind of see that after a little while, he warms up to them. Even though they annoy him, he likes them. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, I pretty much everybody except for their characters, I have some kind of play in. And they've been based off of people in my real life or a little bit of my personality. But my character doesn't come in until right around book 12. I have a character named Seven. I'm mentioned a couple times in there, but I play like I I pretty much chronicle all of their adventures because that's what I do in real life. And so we had this character who just keeps track of what Crit does and makes notes and tries to learn from these new superheroes that just kind of like, showed up on the scene. Because
Gotcha.
when I was really coming up with the superhero idea for D&D, I looked at D&D and I said, well, the only thing that makes the Ranger and the Cleric and all these other things not super is the fact that they're in a world with everybody that has the same power. So you're not super because everybody's super, right? I was like, but if we take away the fact that everybody has these powers and we just give them to certain individuals, then they're super. So he pretty much keeps track of the superheroes, and then he also works for a giant organization that cleans up all their messes and yells at them when they,
Which,
break things.
there would have to be that. There would have to be that if they were real, because all the shenanigans that they get into, there has to be a cleanup crew that's like, God damn it, Caliber.
There was so we're in a group chat, and Boulder sent a picture the other day about it was a picture of Superman throwing somebody's car.
Yeah.
At a bad guy. And it's like, imagine being the person who just bought this brand new car, and now Superman's throwing it at somebody. And he goes, and this is why Boulder doesn't throw cars,
Yeah, right.
He actually will in game go into that mentality of like, well, if I was this person and I just had my car destroyed, I'd be pretty mad. So he tries to play devil's advocate everywhere and like make everybody happy at all times. It's really funny. When I asked him what he wanted to be as far as a superhero, he said, take Eddie Murphy and make him All Might, and that's what I want to do.
That explains his dialogue. His dialogue sometimes is so cringe and so over the top, and like you're like, are we anime? Like, what's going on?
Yep.
Some characters to Boulder specifically, and it was just like, oh my Lord.
And he is stubborn about some of that dialogue too. I'm like, dude, do you really want to keep that? That's my character. He's like, that is what I'm putting. Okay, all right. But it gives him, the awesome thing is, because I don't have to write every character, they write themselves.
I gotta run for a minute, but I'll be back in a minute. Okay.
Okay. We'll be here.
It gives them this the uniqueness that you can't really get from one single writer, because it's really hard to write individual personalities consistently. You can hit it every once in a while, but you'll always have bleed over from person to person. And we see this a lot in movies, right? Like you see, let's just take Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy. We went from Guardians of the Galaxy coming out, and all of a sudden Thor comes out, and Thor is as funny as Guardians, right? And take it or leave it, it's enjoyable or it's not, but we just lose the individuality of that character. Wherein having everyone write their own characters, you have like Reach, who's everybody's creepy uncle, right? And he does it on purpose. Like, he is so creepy just to be creepy. It's so funny. And there's a joke in book 5 where Spectre leaves the group chat because of something that Reach sent, and that actually really happened. We were in game, and Obi had sent something the night before, and literally he sends it, and it was completely inappropriate. But we're like kind of used to this by now, and then you just see Austin has left the group. And we played the next day, and the joke just came up, and I was like, that's got to go in the book because it really happened.
It's really funny.
And in this book that I'm drawing now, now we have Bones in the crew, and Bones is kind of, I know Bones individually. He knows Brad individually. He knows us all on individual levels, but being put into the D&D room with us was weird for him at first, because he's like, wow, you guys really get into this, and it's really, hey, how do I fit? And so we'd be playing, and we had a group chat. So in our group chat, he's putting GIFs or GIFs, whatever you want to say, in response to everything we're saying. Like, he wouldn't talk. He would just respond with these images. And so in the book, I have them having like he's out there, he's out of the truck, and he's doing something, and they're talking in the group chat, and he just responds with the messages. Like, no, he's like, I immediately regret this decision. And I put a GIF in there for him. And that's pretty much his way of communicating. So I've got to put that in there. And I love the fact that when we were designing his character, he's like, well, I do suffer from, fragile bone disease. So I think my power being that I'm the defensive player, in real life, think about this. This guy has to worry about breaking bones all the time. That's his life.
Right.
His superpower is
Sounds
he's
like
really durable
Mr.
and he's the
Glass.
tank.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Quentin. It sounds like Mr. Glass.
He has the same exact disease.
Hey.
And so when we were building a superhero, he wanted to be the defender because, in real life, he's afraid of breaking bones. So
right. Everybody kind of has to be at arm's length.
Right. And now he can actually sit there and tank the damage as a superhero. So
Right.
I was like, well, cool. We had this idea where when he gains his powers and, what causes him to gain them, his body overcompensates and it like grows, and the bones, as they get stronger, they get bigger. So he's like this 7-foot tall guy. And so he towers over everybody. And when the group's out, I draw him like a Snoopy's cartoon where it cuts the head off.
Demon Chicken.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Crit, what's up?
Hey, Christy. Hello.
I had to.
By the way, Quentin, what are you working on, Quentin?
I'm working on Namor.
Ah, okay.
With inspiration of the
timing.
Waterworlds, with the Namor, with the inspiration from the Waterworlds poster.
That's a
Gotcha.
movie I haven't seen in a long time.
Waterworld.
You
Yeah,
haven't
it's such
seen
a
Waterworld?
weird.
Oh, I've
it's
seen
like
it.
a
I just haven't
weird-
seen it.
It's just been a long time. But
That
it's
was
such
like
like a
famous,
weird
like,
movie. Like
terrible
had such a
movie.
big budget, but it was so like I don't know. It just didn't hit the mark. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it was a flop back in the day.
It was a flop. Yeah, but
It was actually kind of, it was like shit. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't as great
Right.
as they made it out to be.
right. But they had this giant budget where it could have been that movie, right? That summer blockbuster. But nah.
I think what kind of fucked it up, from what I remember reading about it, was that there was just so many accidents, so many, like, not necessarily people got killed on set, but the set like kept sinking because it was completely built on the water, and it
Yep.
was just like all these things that were crazy. And it's kind of funny with Namor. It's sort of funny because they made him look more. To me, he looks kind of Indian or Pakistani, which is interesting. But it's kind of neat when they kind of did the tribal jewelry on him, which kind of I think
It's unique. It sets it apart from Aquaman.
Right.
And I know that's what they were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, because both Aquaman and him, like Aquaman was supposed to be originally a golden god, pretty much. I think they were trying to make him into like a Greek god of something, like intimate that. But the fact that Jason Momoa is like part Samoan or mostly Samoan Pacific Islander, so they went with the tats and everything, which I think actually worked pretty well for the character.
I think that worked.
Like the problem is that I don't have a problem reconstructing a character as long as it makes sense. If
Right.
you do it and it's just random, you're like, what is this shit, But it's like, okay, Jason Momoa, he looks like Polynesian Pacific Islander. They like fucking cross continents with boats and everything. The only other
Right.
one was like DC started drawing like Aquaman for a while, like more like a fucking Viking, which sort of made sense.
Yeah.
Like
It was
not
back
really.
in 2007, 2003, 2007.
Initially, it looked like a fucking Olympic swimmer, like the blonde 50s
Yeah.
Olympic swimmer.
Yes.
And then they
Yeah.
switched him over in the comics, like he had the long shaggy hair and the hook. I'm like, how the fuck that happened? But at least the long shaggy hair was sort of Viking-esque. That's what I mean. They kind of made him look like a Viking. But the thing is that
Gotcha.
they made him, but when they made him look more Polynesian, it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Shit. Because like of a lot of the mythologies of the ocean. I mean, I'm not saying the Norse don't, but the Polynesians are more centered in that.
I think so. I don't know. I'm not a.
I mean, it worked out. It looks good. And
right.
Jason Momoa, every fucking woman like drops her
Loves
pants.
him.
Yeah, same thing with Tom
Me
Hiddleston
too.
for a while. Okay,
yeah.
small little story for San Diego Comic-Con. Sorry, just I have like.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I like walked.
Go ahead, see.
Literally, Tom Hiddleston, he was dressed in Loki as Loki.
Yes.
He was, like this far away from me.
That's awesome.
Did you go touch him? Like, sorry. Like,
No, well, with security, I think I would have gotten my.
Oh darn it! You don't want to get
I just looked
tased.
over and I said, "Oh, there's Tom. There's Tom Hiddleston." And I thought, so many nerd girls are creamy in their pants right now. I mean, he's cute. He's a good actor. I'm just not that into him. That's the funny thing.
I mean, yeah, he's a good actor, but it's like also it's one of those things like don't meet your heroes because they're acting people. They're not that character. You know what I mean? So when you meet them, they could be completely different, and it will shatter your hopes and dreams.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
yeah,
it's part of his job.
Right, that's his job.
I'm totally.
Mm.
So I'm totally snacking today. I got some stuff at
You're
Aldi.
good.
So I got the Priano
Ah,
Sfogliatone Glassate. I don't know, my fucking tongue is terrible, but these are good.
Those look tasty.
Oh yeah, they're a puff pastry,
It's
but
a cheese.
they're glazed puff pastry, and then this is charcuterie.
charcuterie?
With a Fuji apple.
Nice. I'm coming over. I'll be right there.
Use a transporter. Energize.
Yeah, I would like to just like be able to transport myself to people's houses when they're like, I'm cooking this. I'll be right there. Click, you know?
I wish we developed teleportation technology. Imagine how great that is.
That would make life so much easier.
I think they were able to teleport individual atoms, which is the start. Yeah. I don't know if they've gotten. I know they haven't gotten past that. Or we'd be teleporting sheep.
Don't you think we would start smaller, like mice?
No, I think they go sheep because sheep. I think if I'm not mistaken, aren't sheep closest to us in like the organic, like the
pigs.
Pigs, whatever. Yeah. Well, they were doing something. They were cloning sheep, and there was a reason why they chose sheep, not another animal. And I thought it was because of how they were close to us or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the genetic structure. Like, I know that sounds like totally overall an explanation, but the genetic structure, I think, in that moment was the best, or like the gestation period wasn't so long.
Yeah.
So they could figure out, but it was like the gestation
so they could
period
do multiple generations and see what happens.
Yeah. And then number two, it was like they were the closest genetic wise in terms of that too, but with proper gestation and all that. Plus, I think with pigs, they have a litter usually. So it's sort of, they wanted to see, because like most people don't give births to litters. We give births to one or two kids, maybe. I mean, more than that is very rare, but so I think they wanted an animal that was probably similar in birth capacity too.
Interesting.
What was her name?
Yeah, I knew there was a reason behind it, but
yeah, I forget. I don't know if that's for certain. That's the only things I could think of.
I think it was.
Yeah, I remember reading about the teleportation they were doing with the single atom, and the progress they were making on that. But I don't think we've made it further than that. We've been too worried about other things lately. So
yeah, just slightly. Dolly the clone. Yeah, it is Dolly. Dolly the clone sheep.
Yep. Back in 1996.
Yes. Which is
96.
Like yesterday, but it's like almost 20 years.
24 years ago.
4?
Really? Oh, wow.
We're old. What was I gonna say? Didn't they have like something else crazy where it's like you could see an atom in 2 different locations through a certain I don't know. I digress. Let's move on.
Apparently, I'm not allowed to bring my energy drinks to the Comic-Con. Crazy. I made a post on Twitter, and I don't even have that many followers on Twitter, so I don't know how this got out there. But I advertised my drink, and I said I'll have it at Baltimore Comic-Con. I didn't say I was going to sell it. I'm just going to have it, Yeah. And I got a message from Baltimore Comic-Con saying that I'm not allowed to sell my energy drinks at Comic-Con. And I was like, how do you even follow? You don't even follow my Twitter. Like, how did you find me?
That's odd.
Apparently,
that's
somebody
weird.
reported my tweet. I've never had that happen.
Did you tag them did you tag Baltimore Comic-Con?
I just posted the cans and I was like, hey, this is cool. I'll have them for the Kickstarter and I'll be in Baltimore with them. And I don't know.
Oh, you're selling them and shit. And like,
I mean, I'd rather drink my own drinks than Red Bull, and promote my own products. But hey,
you're like, but I'm not selling them, so it's fine. Like,
I mean, nothing's going to stop someone from donating $4 extra to my stuff to get a couple cans of energy drinks.
That's different. You can give them away for free, but you're not selling them, right?
Exactly.
You're not a vendor. You don't have a food license, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
Free sample.
Yep. It comes with the package. It has nothing to do with making money off of it.
Correct. Get the comic, get something for free.
Yeah, you back.
I was gonna say because I want to bring mine too, but I only have one of these. I'm not gonna sell it either. Look, my buddy Chris Brown made hot sauce, and it has a
it's
Big James and Jude Like, that's scary.
Did you get that from Sticker Mule? Because I know they make hot sauce.
No. Chris Brown, who is on this channel, he's Laughing Rogue. He made that himself, and he bottles it, and they make their own stickers. So he did like this 6-pack, and usually the picture of the guy is his friend Ben from Big Sexy Outdoors, and they'll change Ben's outfit for depending on the sauce. Like you have like a Viking hat or like cowboy hat. Like it's just kind of funny because Ben's in there like, you know, smiling, and he's just in all these different outfits. So he was like, "Can I do a pale sauce?" And I was like, "Yeah." So it's Path of the Pale sauce, even though it's not pale, but he used ghost peppers in it, which I'm not brave enough to try this sauce, Chris. I'm not. He asked me, he's like, "How you like the sauce?" And I'm like, I'm not going to try it, sir. It's going to sit on my desk and look amazing. That's what it's going to do. Someone else wants to get a sample and try it on our Tuesday show. I encourage you to do so we can see how hot it is.
I lost my sense of taste 25 months ago. And I can't taste hot sauce, but I can definitely tell it burns the back of my mouth. Yeah, like
the flavor of the peppers.
I can't do the flavor, but I can feel like the sensation.
You just feel the burning.
Yeah,
it's no really fun.
Weird. Yeah, I drank alcohol one night. Like I was like, oh, I'll take a shot of vodka to see, you know, what that's like since I can't taste anything, right? So I can drink cheap vodka and I don't have to worry about it. And
cheap date. There you go.
There's no sensation in the front of my mouth. It just burns in my throat. And so it's like absolutely no fun. It's not worth the effort. And then with like I drank wine one night and I was like, I don't get any taste from it. It just burns a little bit and leaves this like weird soury taste in the back of my mouth. It's like the sour feeling.
Acidity.
Oh.
It's gross. So I gave up. I used to like Moscato with my wife, and when we go out to dinner, don't do that anymore. Don't do drinking, and so I drink water, and that's it now. So
that's lame.
Everything leaves like a chemical weird taste. It's disgusting.
Question:
I'm sorry.
When you drink wine, do you drink it with water on the side?
I actually drink everything with water, no matter what I'm doing. I have a condition called hypokalemia, where I'm constantly in a state of dehydration. So I drink about 5 of these a day, just sitting at my desk. If not, my eyes will dry out, my mouth dries out. It's pretty bad.
Ooh.
So you keep on chugging.
Yeah,
basically.
No matter what I do, I gotta drink water. My wife will come in sometimes and she'll be like, "Have you drank any water?" Because like my face will be gray. Yeah.
Like, you're about to die. Please drink some water.
Yep. No, in 2015,
so basically, you're Aquaman.
Yeah, do you have a pool? We could just throw you in the pool. Do you absorb water like a frog through your skin? I mean,
SpongeBob.
You know, it's funny. Growing up, you know, and even when her and I got married, I would like dry after I got a shower, but I wouldn't be dry. She's like, "Why don't you dry?" I'm like, "I don't know. My skin doesn't absorb water. Like it's weird. I get out, I dry, then all of a sudden I'm wet again because like instead of absorbing water like your body normally would, like I sweat it out real quick."
Oh, jeez.
And it's really weird. But she's like, "Did you dry?" I was like, "Yeah, but this is just what happens." And so I go to the doctor, and so in 2015, the doctor gave me. I had 3 days to live, and I find out that this is a condition that I've had my whole life. I've just been living with it, and I didn't realize why I liked high potassium foods and why I only drank water most of my life. Like I gave up soda at a very young age. I never really drank that. I've always just drank water. And they were like, "Oh, it's because you literally like always dehydrated." And so I was like, "Well, when I take a shower, this happens." He's like, "Yeah, it's because your body doesn't absorb it. It pushes it out." I was like, "Oh, that's really weird." So like I sweat water. Like I don't sweat. I actually sweat water. It's very interesting.
Wow.
A real life Aquaman.
Except I'm afraid of getting into deep water because I drowned when I was a child and it was very scary. So I stay out of the deep end.
Like what's the thing called? Like the Unbreakable.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we're just reliving that movie. Your friend is glass. You're unbreakable. It's great. It's great.
I haven't actually had that connection, but yeah, I was pronounced dead 3 times before I was 6 years old. My heart stopped on a hospital bed 3 different times. So
wow.
I've been hit by a car. Like, my friends call me the Winchester because I just never die.
Winchester. There'll be a new superhero name, Winchester.
That's
Well, I got a pancreatic tumor. It had 2 3-inch tits. I basically flipped off death twice. What happened was is that I was 50 pounds overweight. And I didn't understand why, because I really didn't eat that much. And I'm not trying to be like all shitty and all that. But it was like, even I would work out, I wouldn't lose any weight. I'd eat like a piece of pizza and gain 5 pounds. But then over a period of time, like in the last month before they found it, I started getting sick all the time. And I started wanting to throw up half the time. Like I would have a beer and want to throw up. I'm like, that's weird. Or I'd eat up to a point and it wouldn't be full. I'd be like kind of nauseated.
Yeah.
So I thought I had a kidney infection because this thing was making me feel hurting all over and everything. I went there. They did an ultrasound. I said, we think you have a mass either by your stomach, liver, or pancreas. And I'm thinking, oh God, I hope it's not my pancreas. And guess what? It happened. So they did a CT scan with contrast. I think it was with or without contrast, but I know I eventually did contrast. And they told me that it might be they heavily suspect it's a malignancy, because I found out the odds of when you find a tumor that big in your pancreas, it's 90 something odd, like 93 to 95%. You got cancer, advanced stage cancer. It ended up that I got like the last 3 to 5%. That was actually a precancerous. They didn't say it was a tumor. It was a growth. I don't know how they
differentiate.
Yeah. It was like one of those things. It was pseudopapillary neoplasm, and it attacks Black and Asian women. And I had that 3 to 5%. So it would have been cancer 100%, but at that moment it wasn't. So they went in and cut my pancreas in half and then rerouted everything. And they took out my gallbladder because it was in the head. I found out if it's in the tail, they have to take out your spleen. They like literally pulled my guts up and then removed my gallbladder and piped everything in on the side. I had to cut like half my stomach off. And then I just dropped 50 pounds because it was like, oh, I didn't have that thing fucking with me anymore. So it was like a year recovery.
She lost the tumor and some of her organs all at the same time.
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing. It's like I was saying, well, I want to lose weight, but I want to lose it healthily. I just didn't think it would be like that. But
I'm gonna draw that into my comic, Christy. Just someone having surgery, just removing organs and shit. Like,
well, they removed 1.5. Like they removed the gallbladder and they removed half of my pancreas. They say I have 30. Well, it's not half. I hear different numbers, but they said it was like at least 30% is left.
It's interesting how many organs in the human body we've evolved to not need.
Yes.
Yeah, the appendix. Is that, I don't know if that's an organ, but it's a thing.
Gallbladder.
Yeah, like we have these things that we have for some reason that we don't need anymore.
Like they do things, but then they malfunction and then we take them out and you can still live.
Well, it's weird. Like, my friend and I, like, she had to have like a cholecystectomy, which was like a removal of your gallbladder. I found out later, because hers literally died. Like apparently in a lot of pregnant women. Oh, hey Glenn. It's like apparently in a lot of pregnant women, it kind of fucks up with the gallbladders thing. So it like hers literally died and was going necrotic.
Glenn.
Oh, no, Jen woman again.
What's up, Glenn? How you doing?
How do you pronounce that? Fazerko? Hello, Fazerko.
Fazerko.
Yeah, like Quentin said. That.
Fazerko.
Anyway, so.
Yeah, I had my gallbladder out. It sucked.
Got all 4 wisdom teeth out.
It was after I had a. Well, I'm not going to go into all my medical details. I had a really bad time during my first pregnancy. Bad things happened. Almost died. Baby died. Almost died. Like bad stuff, right? It was bad. And then afterwards, I thought I had something out of place in my back, but it was really my gallbladder like blowing up. So then,
that's kind of like what happened to my friend that had the gallbladder out.
Mm-hmm.
She was running, and then she started getting a stitch down her side. She's like, "Oh, what the hell?"
Yeah.
And then they said, "Okay, just take it easy for a week." And she's like, "No, it's not going away." And she had her son like not that long ago, like at least it was a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they did a scan and they did a thing, and they're like, "Why is this dropping?" And they said, "Oh, your gallbladder just died, so we need to
Yep.
take it out.
They're like, oh, you have a bunch of gallstones. You can't eat for 12 days. I'm like, oh, great. So they're like, well, we're waiting for a room to open up in the OR. You get to stay here and be on intravenous fluids. So yeah, I lost a bunch of weight too just from not eating. So it's like, but
Well,
it sucks though, because like I went back to work and they're like, you look great. And I'm like, motherfucker, I didn't eat for 10 days. Like, I'm going to start eating. It's going to come back. Like, don't tell me I look great because I was starving.
Well, you can look at it this way. It's like, well, all that pregnancy weight's fucking gone.
Yeah, it was gone for sure, but whatever.
I'll be back to
We
normal
just-
in a little bit.
We're just herding cats here. It's okay.
We were
Nothing
just
new.
handling a little bit of business. We just brought Ginge and Pedro completely into the network, set them up in the studio. So they'll be going live from here tonight, 7:00.
Cool.
Awesome.
We'll have to
To
watch.
8 destinations, just like everybody else. We're going everywhere, man. Screw it. We want you guys to be seen. That's
Right.
the purpose of this. You know, so
Messed up my. Hey, before we get too far off the rails, I just want to say, Chris, is there anything else about your Kickstarter that you want to talk about with people while we're here? I can bring
Yeah.
we watched some of your video, but hey, stop touching the butt.
Oh yeah, that
but
video is like really long. I mainly keep it there for everyone to be able to sift around and maybe find some of the fun stuff in there. I couldn't find a way to edit that in a way that didn't cut some funny piece out. But so with this campaign, I am focusing on the D&D element a little bit with one of the tiers. We have 5 available slots where pretty much we teach you from the ground up about D&D. One of my players is a professional DM. That's one of the things he does on the weekend. He gets paid. Honestly, I didn't even realize this was a thing. He gets paid quite a bit of money to DM games and show people how to play D&D. So we created a D&D bundle where you get your own die roll tray. So custom die roll tray, custom D6. You get 2 copies of the book, 1 collector, 1 standard. And you also get the game beta that we created. So you can play D&D in our world. And if when we're done, if you'd like to submit your character as, part of the crit book, I have a lot of places in the story where
Cool.
homemade characters will fit right in. So that way you're not only just becoming part of our D&D group, you're also getting to have your character be immortalized in the pages of crit. So there's a lot of cool stuff in that. Like I said, we also have the energy drinks. We also have so many awesome covers, like this one right here.
Is that what he's shooting out of the gun? Is your energy drink? I'm just curious.
Actually, it's coffee. They have there's a joke in the book about coffee cannons, and it's literally so there's this conversation that happened, and it didn't happen in the game. It actually happened after the game, but I wanted to keep it in the book where Caliber goes to the guys like, you got to hear me out here real quick. Coffee cannons. Because they created the coffee company in the book, and then they were like, well, we're selling coffee, we have energy drinks, and Brad was like, well, we have this van that we use to sell coffee out of. We are like Ninja Turtles, right? Ninja Turtles have a cannon on top of their van. Why can't we have a coffee cannon that shoots scalding hot coffee at people? And then they have the idea that they could be like Ghostbusters and run around with hot coffee that they defeat bad guys with. And that's their selling point to people is like, hey, our coffee is so powerful, it kicks ass. And they have all these different marketing ideas for their coffee and energy drinks.
Yeah.
So I contacted Matt Weldon, who is one of my favorite cover artists that we use. And he always likes some of the off the wall ideas that we have. And I said, hey, so we want the big giant robots from the book getting blasted with hot coffee. And he goes, okay, that's awesome. I'll roll with it. And this is what he sent me. Fantastic work. I love Matt Weldon and Nestor Radula, who do the colors for these. Just nailed it.
Yeah, they're great. I love how the cat's right in the center. Just
Yep, gotta have the cat, and he has a magic cat. So, and this that last cover, Robert Nix does all of my comedic style ones. We always try to have something funny, something that kind of sets out from the other covers. And with this book, I gave Robert free reign. So he was like, "Can I have the cat playing D&D?" and your character's
This one.
being the on the board. And I was like, yeah, do it. So he sends me a sketch, and he's like this giant cat playing D&D with characters. And
It looks diabolical.
if you kind of
It's
see,
hilarious.
Bones rolled a nat 1, so he's going down.
And let me guess, it can be any type of coffee: Irish coffee, Brazilian coffee, Vietnamese coffee, Ethiopian coffee.
And Doc really has power outages because he'd be here talking about coffee. I'm just saying.
So Caliber hates serving coffee. They have a lot of different coffee on the menu, but Caliber only serves black coffee, and he only likes serving the number 7, which creates some chaos in the book because he makes everybody mad. And then Boulder gets mad because of that. They're getting bad Google reviews, so they get to this big argument about how they have to worry about Google reviews. And then Caliber looks over and he's like, but you have animals running a coffee shop, and there's like the cat with a cup of coffee.
I love how Reach is just there, answering, looking at his emails, checking his text messages. He just doesn't care.
He really doesn't. Obi is a good friend of ours. He's just loves being like unique in his own way. And I said this the other day on a live, and I guess it's become a thing. I've had a few people message me about this device that he creates that brings people back from the dead. So in D&D, when you die, you have to roll these death saves and things. So he comes to the table one day.
Pops knows. He's always rolling death saves.
Well, so that death can be overcome. But he's like, I have this idea where I want to create this. It's kind of like a tanning bed, but it heals you with nano things. And I was like, okay. And he lays it out, and he did all this research on these ideas that people have for cell regrowth and stuff like that.
Oh, I know all about that conspiracy theory, the nanotech technology with government soldiers and putting it in your blood. Yeah.
But he has this acronym, and I have it written down somewhere in like the 1,000 notes that I have for Crit, and I need to get it from him. But the acronym spells out anus. Okay. ANUS. And he says it, but he doesn't say the acronym. He says the words, and I'm sitting there looking at it, and I was like, everything this man says has a double meaning. And I was like, Obi, you just spelled anus. He's like, yeah, so that way I can say get him in the anus. And it's just so fitting because this character.
Do you want to come back? You must go into the anus.
Exactly. So that becomes a thing later on where he tells everyone, make sure you get him in my anus.
I can see that being a reoccurring thing there.
Oh,
awesome.
It's such a joke, and it was one of those moments where when we're playing, generally I'll put my head down at some point, or they'll hear me. When we're playing remote, I'll just shut the mic off and walk away for a minute, and you can hear in the recordings they're like, I think we just made him mad. And then someone always says, no, he's just figuring out how to put this in the book because that's not going to work.
From the scene from Beavis and Butthead to America.
Yes.
I love Beavis and Butthead. I actually have it on VHS. I recorded every single one of them when I was a kid because my mom was putting a block on MTV. So before she was able to do that, my father went in and recorded every episode of Beavis and Butthead so that I could play it on my VHS. Yep. My dad was a great father. I'll tell you that.
Awesome.
She took away my metal albums one year. She said I was I was depressed and I was a devil worshiper. And she took away all my music that had bad language in it. My Guns N' Roses albums, my Metallica.
No.
Yeah.
Hold up. She sat and listened to it all to find out what all had bad words in it.
She made my stepfather was disabled, and so she gave him my entire tape collection and said, listen to all of it, and anything that has bad words in it goes away. And so he was tasked with listening to every album I had, and I lost quite a bit. But see, the thing is, my dad was like the guy who wanted me to get into it anyway. So every time she took away an album, he would record it. He had like a dual recorder back in the day, and he would make a copy of it. And he would put like a Disney album on it or something.
In the beginning, like the first,
you wouldn't know what I had.
First 30 seconds is Disney songs. That's hilarious.
Yeah, he was good like that. And then
That
she
was
figured it
cool.
out after a while and gave
That's
up.
cool.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
You
back
just
in the
out
day, my
after
dad
a while
did that
and
too,
gave
where
up. See?
he showed me how to get on to like use the DOS commands to get into like playing Doom on the computer because Doom was
I remember
weird.
those.
Remember?
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the best. Dad was like, "Don't get caught."
My friend actually, like, he taught me how to like recolor everything and actually do the prompts and stuff, customize the prompts. But my parents didn't give a shit. Like, I got Leisure Suit Larry on that game.
Yes.
Yeah.
What a messed up game. Like, that's so awesome. I want to bring that back. Like, I want to bring like Leisure Suit Larry plus Oregon Trail and Path of the Pale Rider and just blow shit up. It would be fun.
You died,
but now you're undead. And it's like, as soon as you become undead, I like Jeremy's idea where it like flips to a first person shooter and it's like a completely different style game. And the longer you're in it, the harder it is for things to make sense, where it's like you start losing your mind. So sorry.
It's so funny. So funny. I can imagine. Sorry.
No, there was like an Oregon Trail style game, but it was like you like rode and then it was like jump over the river, like what? Or take the trail down.
Right.
So you take the logical one down and you get fucked up and all that. But
Right.
you said jump over the river, you're like,
I know. And that's what it's like playing my choose your own adventure. You're like, this is easy. Let's protect the child. And then the child fucking kills you. So yeah, that'll be a fun time. I can't wait for people to play that. I can't wait for people to start giving me feedback of how far they can get on the first try. Because when I beta tested it, nobody could get through it. So it'll be fun.
I'd love to see them redo Oregon Trail in a more modern, like, setting. And
someday we're gonna do it.
I mean, kind of, but think about Oregon Trail done like Red Dead Redemption, but with a Dark Souls element to where like you actually die. Right?
Welcome to Path of the Pale Rider, Chris. You just nailed it exactly on the head. Red Dead Redemption and Oregon Trail and Dark Souls. That's what my book is. Like, you walk around, you get killed just about every second. But it's like in my world, it's like you don't get to leave once you die. You become undead and you get to quickly, whatever, go crazy because you don't leave your body when you die.
Interesting.
Again.
So yeah, you get to enjoy your decay. You can be killed a few times where it's like maybe you died of this and now it's like then you get eaten or mauled by a bear. Someone could shoot you and you're still around. Like, you don't get to leave.
Wow. Okay. I need to check this out. That sounds
It's a bad day.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Oh wait,
No,
look.
wait.
Wait. I want to show you guys. Because if you haven't seen, okay, like here, Chris. This is from the Choose Your Own Adventure. This is a nasty guy called the Skinner. You get to run bounties in the wasteland, and you get to come across this guy and see if you can do the bounty and bring him in. But yeah,
that's awesome.
He's a bad dude.
I really dig that design.
I kind of had like a Cad Bane meets Freddy Krueger kind of look.
Yeah, I see it.
And he has no eyes. He walks around with a mask or like a bandana over his face and sunglasses most of the time, so people can't see who he is because he has a pretty distinct look. But once people know who it is, they panic. Bad dude.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely nailed that Freddy look.
Yeah. That's this is all the interior of the Choose Your Own Adventure is done by an artist named David Rodriguez, who really excels at this very gory, detailed work. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. That's amazing. I was like, one of my a guy from my publisher was like, this needs to be a cover. And I was like, I'll wait until there's a significant death in one of my books, and then we'll use that for the cover to kind of
that's a sick image. And then if you do it with like a solid black and red. You could do that on a I was just saying the other day, I want to find a printer. If you remember back in the 90s, they had those embossed like the puffy covers.
Yes.
Remember those?
Yeah.
I need to find someone that can do that, because I just have these ideas for like a puffy cover with like a D20 on the front, and like you can actually feel the D20.
That's
and I think
cool.
that would be cool for something like this too.
Yeah, where the skull is embossed or
they have it embossed and like raised up a little bit, so it looks like the skull's like coming out of the page. That'd be cool.
And then this is one of our T-shirt designs where this is our protagonist, Jude St. Clair, who is telling the world bullshit in sign language. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
it's one of the things that he does. And then this is, of course, the Ken Salinas cover,
I love
which
that.
will also be the other t-shirt design. Yeah, so I just wanted to share those with people. Just kind of, if you haven't seen that yet, we're working on smashing some pumpkins if we get to a stretch goal. Where did that go? So
I actually updated my stretch goals right before we went live. I just crossed our first stretch goal mark at $3,000. So everybody gets the digital bundle. I've got 6 indie comics coming everybody's way that backs crit. So that I'll send those out as soon as the campaign ends as well. And also all the digital back issues, those will go out November 5th, the day after the campaign ends. I'll go ahead and send all the digital backers those and all that fun stuff. So if you've gotten in on the campaign and you haven't checked out crit, you get everything in one bundle. Also, I do like to tell everybody on my website, homebrewedcomics.com, issue 0 is free, always will be free.
Cool.
Check it out. That way there's no risk involved. You know what you're getting yourself into. You know, it's I like to tell people that we're like, it's always sunny in Philadelphia meets Ninja Turtles meets Police Academy.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good description of what I was reading, people. Where are your stretch goals, Chris? Am I missing them?
I have to post them. I didn't expect to hit it so soon. And
yeah, by the way, can we mention really people that, oh my God, he's like 200% of goal in a week and got 72 backers in less than a week. Like that's amazing.
Awesome. And a lot of those backers are repeat backers, which is really cool. Seeing people come back over and over again for more crit.
So that's awesome. Yeah. So I mean, congratulations on all your hard work for that. That's difficult, people. That's dedication, and that says a lot about your product because when you're able to deliver, when you're able to have a great product, it has a good story and good art, and people get what they're looking for, then they return. And then when you see all these people return after 1 week, those are the fans that have already been involved in previous issues. So hashtag life goals, Chris. I would love to have 72 people return to my project at some point and be like, Path of the Pale Rider is amazing. I want to be a part of it. And like being at 200% is amazing. So way to go, man.
It's nerve-wracking too, because when I first came to Kickstarter, it was right in the beginning of 2020. I didn't know anything about Kickstarter. I set a goal at $2,000 because I just did research. I didn't actually know what to do. I didn't really need $2,000. And we got right at like 30 backers, made around 700. I really only needed 400. I didn't know. I didn't know the cost of printing, didn't know anything. I did the math after the Kickstarter had failed. And I was like, we only needed about 400. And a friend of mine, who's independently wealthy, actually gave me $500 to finish the book.
That's cool.
Said, everything you do, you put yourself into. He was like, go ahead and finish the book. So I finished the book, and then I contacted every one of those backers, and I sent them a free book because I was like, hey, you were invested enough to check me out. Like, I appreciate that. Since I got the money, and Kickstarter doesn't take money if you fail. So I gave them free books, and I said, just do me a favor. Check out book 2 when I launch it. If you could share this on social media, help me out. I still have backers from that campaign coming back. Book after book. I fulfilled. We've done 6 different crowdfunding campaigns to this point. Every single one of them has been fulfilled relatively on time, as long as printers and shipping can be a hassle. But we've fulfilled every single one within reasonable time. We've gotten everybody back time after time, and this is the first time in the past few years I've actually reflected on that and been able to say, wow, I actually am really proud of those things, because I didn't realize there's a lot of creators that stumble with those things. And I know it can be, we're coming out of the 2020 bust where everybody was able to have the time to create. And the backers now, the feedback I've been getting is people get really worried about independent creators because we have jobs, we have lives, we have these things that take us away from creating. I am blessed to have a support team and a group of people behind me that we're putting out our 7th book in 2 years.
That's amazing.
There's not going to be any slowdown. So, if you get invested and you like what you see, we're going to continue putting these out. I've got a team behind me. I've trained myself how to draw, how to color, how to letter. I've got contracts now with printers to make sure things get done on time. And I even worked out a deal with my local postage, or USPS, because they love my wife. So we have, so I just have
I'll be honored to look out for your boy.
I've been working really hard the past couple of years to make this a machine, and seeing that hard work come to fruition. And I've never launched a 4th quarter book. That's always been a really scary time period for me, because we're getting close to Christmas, right?
Right.
And so going in with a $1,500 goal right before Christmas, I was nervous. I was really scared that
Jorge,
we wouldn't hit it, and we did it in 15 minutes. So
amazing. That speaks wonders to your fandom as well. Hey, I had a question. Are you strictly on Kickstarter? Have you used other crowdfunding platforms? I'm just curious about what your experience is with some of the other platforms like Indiegogo. There's Zoop. There's what's the new backer kit one? Crowdfunder or something like that.
So I signed up for Crowdfunder. I signed up for Zoop. I got turned down on Zoop because they didn't want to take something that had been on Kickstarter, even though it wasn't something that was already on Kickstarter.
That's weird.
I was going to launch a secondary. I wanted to launch a different kind of trade paperback and use Zoop as that means. Yes, I've used Indiegogo, and I am actively trying to find a way to justify my running a separate campaign somewhere else to generate some more capital to expand on some of the products that we want to have in the book. But I don't feel comfortable going to Kickstarter with similar items that have already been funded, if that makes sense. So I've contacted Zoop to try and figure out a way that I can get something on there that is new to them, new to those readers, and kind of, I want to get different audience, because I understand that Kickstarter has a big audience, but doesn't have the only audience. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, because the same thing for me, where I was like, hey, I was wondering if I should do an Indiegogo if I don't meet my color stretch goal, because I'm looking to get that color. But there's people that don't use Kickstarter. That absolutely will not, right? So if you don't put it on Indiegogo, you're missing out on that crowd.
I've decided that I will go probably Indiegogo. I won't be advertising heavy for it because I literally spend so much time pushing Kickstarter. I don't want my fan base, or I don't want to exhaust my people, but I'm thinking about putting it on there as like a live, because I think you can put them just on Indiegogo. You don't have to have it.
This is what you do. Because I have a lot of people from our side, that use Indiegogo. You put it up there with a $500 goal, because you've already funded over there on Kickstarter, right?
Right.
You put a different cover on it, something that wasn't on Kickstarter, a different variant, Indiegogo exclusive. You put it on Indiegogo, $500 goal. You get to go 60 days. You're obviously going to get over the $500 goal. And then you go in demand, and you can just sell books. As they're already printed. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's like you're just putting a new cover on them. It's not like you have to go through the whole sending files process and all that, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's just another storefront.
Got it. Yeah, I wanted to do something like that could generate a little bit more for us. Eventually, the goal, my end game goal, is to be able to run on my own website our own, pre-launch page. I had started to look into it, and then I watched the ISOM thing, and I was like, oh, well, how did he do that? So I took a bunch of notes on what he did, given I don't have that kind of audience, so I know we're not going to pull in something like that.
Have 500,000 people to draw
right.
from.
Right.
People were throwing money at him before he ever said he was going to make a comic book.
Yeah. So, and I don't pretend to even have that kind of clout, but I think it would be nice, you know, one of the something that stuck with me was my second book. My dad said, when are you going to get off Kickstarter and just do this on your own?
There you go.
Right.
My dad, he was into comics a long time ago. He worked with some people at, you know, DC. You know, he knows a lot of everybody. If you've ever read Cry for Dawn, he knows that crew. He knows a lot of people, and he was like, I never knew people would just crowdfund like this. He's like, it's just different. And he goes, but when are you going to do it on your own? And you don't need that crowdfunding. And I said, well, I'd love eventually to be able to move to like a pre-order, you know, in my own website.
Yep.
And that way I don't rely on Kickstarter. I don't have to worry about getting kicked off of this thing or worry about an algorithm. I just have my fan base. We have, you know, our group, and I'm able to promote my website. You know, just go to homebrewedcomics.com and get your copy, right? Not kickstarter.com/da-da-da-da-da.
See, and that's what I've been saying the whole time. I don't care where your book is for sale. I'll promote it as that's where it's for sale. Come out and tell us about it. That's why we build this platform, and we're taking it next level, bro. We really are. This YouTube and stuff is kind of a leapfrog. I think we're going to leapfrog to the next level. I'm not really worried about building a gigantic YouTube following. I want to take it to the next level. We're hooking up with some cool people. We're building a bigger and bigger network. And, you know, we're not going to have to tell everybody all the time, you know, go to Kickstarter, go here. It's like we already have some people. The only place you get their book is on their website, like Apple Grizzly. We played their ad earlier, right? Splinters of Yggdrasil. Books are $5 each. You can get 4 books right now, $1 through $5 each.
$20.
You know, and shipping, you know. So instead of 1 book, it's 4 books for, you know, get shipped to you at one time. You for $20.
1, 2 comes to 2 to the 3 to the 4.
For $20.
Well, we're also in right now. I'm finalizing with Diamond, and so I know it's really tough to run Diamond and Kickstarter. I know a couple of guys that do both, and they've said how much time you have to invest when you're trying to run both at the same time. So hopefully, you know, I have a network of about 1,500 stores that I talk to on a daily basis. I actually work in distribution, so I have been spending 2 years building those relationships. And so, you know, the goal is to eventually, and if you follow our social media, you know, I talk about the Savage Sandbox a lot, and that's where my energies are going to be moving into is the small press. You know, I want to take the 9 creators I have on the Savage Sandbox, and once we can get into Diamond and we can have these quarterly releases, monthly releases, and we can get on this good schedule, I'm hoping to be able to facilitate that way and start a more traditional route. Where, yes, we get off Kickstarter, we're able to use crowdfunding for more of the extras, like the cat or like the animation or these add-ons to the actual comic, and let the comics breathe and let those be released via website or more organically. And then we can focus on the really cool stuff and use the money from crowdfunding to give people some really cool items and add-ons to these cool stories we have. Like the D&D game I want to release, or, you know, all the stuff we all wish we had that we can't do all the time, because it's hard to fund a comic book and then spend. I think the last book, like $8,000 went into that book between printing and all the other stuff that goes into it, and then say, oh, I just talked to an animator, and for me to get 3 minutes worth of content is like $600 just for 3 minutes, which is reasonable, but at the same time, it's, you know, to create a 20-minute animation, we're talking thousands of dollars in creation. So it'd be cool to, instead of trying to crowdfund the comic, trying to get like something like that off the ground. We're doing animation and getting people that back that to give them like producer credits and things. So when we pitch this to like Netflix or Hulu or something, these people get a little bit more of a gratification knowing, hey, my stuff's over there. I'm a producer on that. I invested in Crit, and now they're on Hulu, because I've talked to a bunch of different networks. I actually know a film publishing company that's been helping me get some of that groundwork laid as well. Those are all my grand schemes.
scheme
It's always
of
good to dream big, I guess,
It's
right?
away,
pretty
man.
awesome
Scheme
because
away.
we're in the middle of building something bigger too.
I think that's the important thing is surrounding yourself with people that have big ambitions, because you're going to have that energy bleeding between all of you. And so, and even if you're all going in different directions, you'll make those connections and help each other throughout the way. And that's the cool thing about these networks and this show and every other show that I've been on, where there's someone with a high goal, this isn't my end game. This is where I want to be. Oh, I know someone that can help you. I'm on shows all the time where it's like they reach out to me offline, say, you mentioned this, I want to help you. Like the energy drink, I got that because I had mentioned the idea and someone was like, oh, why don't you look this up? I looked it up and I found out it's really expensive. Well, then I found out the guy that owned the record label I was on, he had his own energy drink brand when we were on tour. We were on Warped Tour and we had our own energy drinks. And I was like, oh, I forgot about that. So I called him and I said, hey, who did you get your energy drinks through? And he owns a comic book store now. He was like, oh, I do comics now. So,
that's
right,
karma right there, right?
It's so many unique people that you run into that you never know how they're going to be able to connect you as well. So, networking is important, not just advertising. So
yes,
these shows are great. I've been on Pop's show since, I think I've been following you since the early 2020 time when this was all kicking off. And now you've got a network, which is, I got to give props where props are due. And that's freaking awesome. So,
it's actually like, it's only part of it. It's like that the show and everything is kind of like the marketing part of what we're building here. That's where we go out, we go on the road, we go out to different cons and people that have faith in us and let us do stuff with their books, we'll sell their books and we'll take their books to comic stores in that city every weekend. And we'll do some things that involve marketing and distribution. And, I've been watching for a long time. I know people that are in the back of the Diamond book. They're in the back of the Diamond book. It's like, what I'm talking about. It's like, it's hard to get retailers to even look back there. I'm glad that you actually talk to them. You have a rapport with retailers, because my end game is getting everybody's books in retail stores. It always has been. I've been singing that song since day one. I want to go to my retailer, get her book, your book, her book, I want to not have to pay $10 shipping for every freaking book I buy.
Yep.
I've been saying it since day one. So my end game is all that and more. There's even more.
Speaking to the retailers and to speak to that just a little bit, because I've had really in-depth conversations with some of the key players in retail, people that have 20, 30 stores nationwide. And I asked them, what is the stigma around indie comics? And I was told, well, hey, you want me to put your one book on the shelf for my people to come in and buy, right? Yeah. Well, just think about my shelf as a rental space. And they said, yeah, you go to Kickstarter. How do I know that Kickstarter isn't your only audience? Because a lot of people don't know the marketing aspect, or they put out one book and then life hits and now we don't see a book for maybe 2 or 3 years, or God, we just don't see you again. That's the risk with indie that, I try to surround myself with people that aren't going to be a one and done, right? Like that have that passion, not just, 2020 is here, I want to draw a book. Oh, this is really hard. How many creators have we met that have gone away because this is hard? And that's what he said. He was like, comics isn't easy. It looks easy because we're all sitting at home and this is great. And, I had this conversation about a year ago. He said, but when things start opening up and people can't dedicate so much time to it, we're not going to see them back for a long time. And now I've spent my energy investing my customers and taking up space on my shelf for your book that isn't going to go anywhere. And he said, that's not a hit on you or anybody else, but I'm a businessman and I have to worry about that space. That's a rental space. I need whatever thing I put there to generate revenue. Right. And I was like, okay, cool. I hear you. Now what I'm hearing is you need to keep that space moving, but you also need to keep new titles in. So you need multiple copies. And I took all these notes and I said, well, hey, I have 9 guys that do this, and we're either quarterly, monthly, whatever it is. So what I've tried to do is in the past 2 years, let us get ahead of the game. Like I have 7 books. So if I get into retail tomorrow, I'm covered for 7 months until I have to worry about another book on there. But I've also got 9 other guys. So if we need to, we can stagger and have 2 spaces on a shelf and just reuse those spaces, right? We've got like 22 books now. That's 22 months worth of content that we can keep recycling on a shelf to keep his readers engaged, and those are that's where I'm going is like, what's the next level? Where do I have to go to keep retailers happy? Because Kickstarter is great. Instagram's great for getting your name out there. But the people that read comic books aren't always going to find you on one of those platforms. They're going to find you on a shelf, right? They're going to find you at a convention. They're going to find you at a shelf. I can't be at every convention. So I've got to supplement my face time with shelf time. And how do I do that? That's what's going on in my head all the time. How do I get there? And yeah, it's great to get into Diamond, but like I said, it's going to be hard to be in Diamond. It's one thing to be there, right? It's another thing to sell. And so I've got to get myself in the book first. And then I've got to contact these 1,500 people that I've built relationships with and be like, hey, you said you would buy my book. I've got 9 of them. I've got 9 months coming. Go ahead and pick up the first couple months, get this going, and let me earn my space on your shelf. I've already got retail boxes made. I've got a bunch of retail ready stuff just for that. Actually, it's in my Kickstarter. I've got retail ready stuff because I'm reaching out to retail now, trying to see if I can get that train moving. But I think that's where a lot of creators need to start looking, is off of Kickstarter, off of these crowdfundings, and look at where your audience really will be eventually. And that's going to be in the comic book store.
You're muted, Pops.
What I've been saying, that's what I'm trying to build toward. But dude, it's like, for me, everything you're saying, but ready-made. Marketing, distribution, all of it already made under one umbrella.
Yeah, you've got the network for it. You've got the foundation already here.
Animation, I'm talking about production, film production people. We have animation people. We have game developers. You said you want a D&D game. I got a guy that makes games.
Yeah, Chris.
Okay, he's our sponsor. Okay, I think you might want to talk to us, bro. I'm just saying, you might want to talk to us because we're putting the marketing thing together too. What you were talking about, okay, a single comic maybe turned into a Netflix show, whatever. I'm talking about building a channel for comic creators for shows like this. A full 24-hour-a-day network with freaking, fresh content all the time. And we're on our way to doing that. And we've talked to some other people who have multiple show networks, like somebody who's way bigger than ours. Okay. And they get way bigger guests than we do. And they're looking at us going, yeah, Pops, I like what you're doing. Come on, let's go. And we're running with the ball, man. And that's the main thing, is what you're talking about, being seen. That's the hardest part you have. That is what we have in abundance. We're going to go on the road. We're going to take our road show to a con every month and hit the stores in that city with here's our catalog of the stuff we have. And you see what I'm saying? And it's like we're thinking in those terms, but all the way across the board. We already have Critical Blast Logistics on for distribution. And the whole thing is it doesn't even stop people from doing Kickstarters. It doesn't even stop.
There's a stigma with retail about Kickstarters, and I think
that's what I'm saying. The retailers, we take your A cover to.
Right.
You can still kickstart all your variants and all your crazy stuff that you want to do, and all those people that like that stuff can still get it.
See, Berserk really helped. As much as people want to complain about Berserk being on Kickstarter, it helped because it did really well on Kickstarter, but then it went to stores and did really well too. So they started to realize, oh wait, it doesn't. Not the entire audience gets the book there. There's room for growth. But I have to respect those people too, because they've literally faced so many problems over and over again. You've got comic book decline just in purchases, and then you have 2020 that hits, and these people went through a lot. I've heard a lot of stories.
Yeah. Well, part of it's price point too, which is another thing we're figuring out a way to become more competitive so that we don't have to worry about all the problems everybody has.
My uncle actually works in the company that prints for DC, and he talks to Archie Comics. That guy's on his like speed dial. Him and his wife actually go to have dinner with them. And when I first started doing this, I didn't even know that's something that they did. I knew he worked in printing, but I thought he worked with like books. And he's like, no. One of the things we do, I have the contract for this. I have the contract for that. He's like, when you can print 10,000 copies, I can get you a deal.
Yeah, see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he was like, but if you can't do 10,000, that's why we pay so much, is because the volume isn't there.
I know, bro. I know. We are working on this seriously. Just a thought. We need to talk because there's ways we can seriously help each other. That's all. We don't even have to talk live about it anymore. We need to talk. There's ways we can help each other.
Yes, let's get together. I mean, we're friends on Facebook. Just let's chat.
Yeah.
And they all know what I'm talking about. So, Christie's actually on the advisory board. So, you know what I mean? She knows what's going on. We're really seriously trying to build something maybe not been done in a long time. You know,
well, a lot of new. So with comic books, nothing really new and innovative in the industry has come in a very long time. Really, like Image did it. They dropped it.
Right.
They said, "Hey, we're here. We're doing something new and cool." Then they became rock stars for a little bit, and then the industry kind of started to do this weird snake. Yeah. I think we're in this like unique position with indie comics because we have a lot of veteran players that have gotten into indie now. And indie isn't this, it's not as frowned upon as it once was because of the players that are now there that have left the big publishers that are like, hey, I'm going indie, I'm doing this. And then you also see the fact that like on my book alone, I've got 2 guys that have done work for big companies because they're not paying what we pay. Right. I'm an individual that own, like I'm a small business owner. My wife is a small business owner. I know a lot of people that own small businesses. If I come to you and I say, what's your page rate? I'm going to pay your page rate. I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, this is what I pay. I pay $20 a page. Like there were artists working for Marvel getting $20 a page and no royalties. Like just do Marvel. Like how that's garbage. You like my time is worth more than $20 for a page because I know how much time goes into that page, right?
Yes.
I'm an artist too, so I get it.
Christy?
What's that?
Well, no, I think like from what I understand of people that work for the big 2, the people that I know, like penciling and inking at least is like 200, 250 a page. And these are fairly seasoned people, but people that are good, like they can command up to 500, which is kind of crazy, but it's like on the average, if you're starting out, if you're doing more things, you attack on more. So if you because I charge like 125 for black and white and 150 for full on color, but I'm including lettering, penciling, inking, all that shit. Format. So it's like, that's what I do. And like, if you guys are saying, well, we're just doing like 20, it's like, don't.
Right. Don't accept that. That's not how, I mean, that's like, it's like you can
don't
go
even
work
draw
a desk job
for $20 a page,
I wouldn't do anything for $20 like that. And I don't know if it goes into the time they've spent or what they're doing as far as that stuff goes. But I've had somebody tell me that in some books they'll have somebody draw the foreground, somebody come and draw the background, and I don't know. I do everything from the back to the front, the details. I do all that. But I'm also the kind of person where I don't really like having somebody else do my work for me anymore. I like having my name on everything, so that like I'm putting my all into it. I actually do. I just looked down the time. I have to go pick my kid up from school in the next couple minutes. Wow. I didn't realize we
You
could talk
stayed.
for
You stayed
almost 2
the
hours.
entire time, Chris. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I want to say thank you before you go. Thank you for staying the entire time.
I
We
had such a great time. I didn't realize we
Good.
were on for so long.
No, that's great. I'm glad you
Definitely.
had a great time. Like, I really enjoyed hearing about Crit and talking with you about some of the things that I was reading in your comic. Guys, go back his project. I mean, he's flipping 200%. You're gonna get your comic. He's on issue number 7. Everything's always been fulfilled. He knows what he's talking about. He's
I have literal
experienced,
stacks of
right?
stuff sitting next to me just to show everybody how much
Yeah.
I've done in a couple years. Really proud of my team. We work really hard. We will fulfill no matter what. I pushed it out. I put the fulfillment date at March because I've heard rumblings of a little bit of paper shortage, and then FedEx is not hiring seasonal help, which is going to put a lot of stress on the postal service this year. So I know a lot of people. I deal with logistics as well, and I was told, hey, FedEx isn't hiring holiday help, and I was like, well, that's good news for me to know now, so I know, hey, when I start to ship, I don't want to. This book should be done late December, early January, and I was going to fulfill January. I pushed it out to March to be safe, more to be able to fulfill on a good time for everybody and meet my promise. But that's why I put it out till March, is just to give myself a buffer in case. Goal is to have it to you by end of January, beginning of February, just in case for logistics purposes. I put it at March. So anybody else that's shipping a book, be prepared for USPS to be kind of inundated with the lack of
I want to
FedEx.
thank you for sharing that with me because I forwarded that to RJ right away.
Yeah. My dad is one of the
gonna
top
be me.
guys in the UPS hub in Kentucky. And I spoke to him last week and he was like, hey, just a heads up, FedEx isn't hiring at all for seasonal help. He said they're actually shutting down some of their stuff. So, yeah.
I'm gonna go put that on my Kickstarter page so people know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we are with March. I do know that it'll be done sooner than that, but I promise you those books will be in hand by March. Anybody that backs digitally, you will get any digital backs, digital pages like your covers, your previous books, things like that, as soon as they're done, because I already have books 0 through 5 done. So you get 6 books on the 5th of November to get caught up. That way, when you get that 7th book in, you can go ahead and read it and enjoy it. And you already know where we're at in the story. And you can form your opinions about my friends. So probably true. And I'm on social media quite a bit. My friends aren't. They really shy away from it, but I always make myself available. So if you have a question about Crit, or I like to say this too, one of the big things that this has opened me up to is people with D&D. I'm a huge D&D nerd. If you can see, I have an entire bookshelf of just from 2nd edition all the way through 5th. I love it. If you've ever been on the fence about playing D&D and have questions, I've had a lot of people reach out to me, and that's why I put the D&D tier there. Is I've had people say, you opened me up to D&D, but I really don't know where to begin. And I like to put myself out to help people out, because if it wasn't for my friends, I wouldn't have played D&D. I said it was way too nerdy for me. And then I played and I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. So,
we have a couple of different gaming shows on the network too.
Yeah, we do.
I'd love to get on a gaming show and just talk D&D.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah,
I mean, we
you should
have,
see some of the stuff that
shows
Chris
where we
Brown has
actually
created too.
We have shows where we actually play D&D. We also have another show with Chris on Fridays where we demo a different tabletop every week.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Because he's got a whole
if you need some
crap load of
tabletop
them, and he
games, let me
makes
know. I have a whole 40.
Dude,
I get them from all the publishers all the time.
Friday at 11 a.m. Oh, look, there's Cole.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's one of
I
Chris's
keep playing
games.
this and it keeps kicking my ass, so I have to keep playing it until I freaking win because I have to win.
This is another one of Chris's games, Gods of Metal.
Oh, that's all. All right, so I need to get this guy's contact. I actually work in game distribution.
Do you?
So
Okay, then you need to talk to
You
Chris.
definitely do, because he has one that he just tried to kickstart, and it was just like, man.
It was
just
like too
great
many
game,
different
man.
genres.
We've
it was
played
about
a bunch of
hunting.
times.
It's a hunting game.
Yeah, we do like MetaZoo. We just got MetaZoo last year. We got the exclusive on them until they went worldwide.
You got to go get your kids, man. But check this out.
Actually, yes.
As we're getting
We'll
ready,
talk a
watch
billion
the
times.
screen.
Thank you so much, everybody.
The screen.
And Chris, you're welcome to come back on the Tuesday morning brew whenever. Even if you're not kickstarting, you got nothing to promote, just come hang out with us, dude. You know, you're welcome anytime.
Until Rich come, you see Rich come on. It'll be a fun fest right there.
Yeah, this was actually kind of a quiet day.
Professor.
Rich wasn't here, Allie wasn't here, and Doc lost power. So we were missing a few people.
I want to play the trailer for this game. I want you to check it out while you're getting ready to run out the door.
Yeah, so you can see real quick.
Go ahead and play it. Y'all go check out Craig.
I'll get it on YouTube.
It's right here. I got it. Bang.
Okay.
The sun peeks over the horizon. Your excitement builds. The animals in the field start to stir. The forest comes alive with sounds. The sunlight glimmers off the lake, and the mountains start to shed their morning fog. So load up your favorite ammo, grab a few buddies, and head out to make some memories. And tell the rest of the world that you've gone hunting. Gone Hunting is a 1 to 4 player game of family fun where you build a unique hunting ground, scout different animals, buy weapons and gear, and roll dice to hunt. Complete objectives and try not to miss. So let's load up the truck and back Gone Hunting today. See you in the field.
I like that. Big sexy outdoors.
Yeah. And they caught some crap for that because they said they had family fun, family friendly fun or whatever on it, and some people were like, it says big sexy on it. That's not family friendly. And it's like, it's a sponsor. Come on, man. Big Sexy Outdoors is a sponsor.
But people go to Dick's Sporting Goods. And
right, exactly.
My kid calls it Richard. She won't even say Dick's.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, she's like, I can't say that. That's a bad word.
It's not a bad word, but my nickname is Dick.
I do not
Hello,
know
Facebook user, whoever you are.
I'm
howdy.
I don't know who that is either, but thank you for popping in. Everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate coming on. I will have to join in again and definitely get in on a couple of things. Pops, when I'm not doing 30 things in a day, I'll shoot you a message and we'll set up a chat.
We definitely need to talk, bro. Same.
Yeah, we're moving in the same direction, so we got to move together. That's cool.
All right, bro.
Laurie, thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Check out Crit on Kickstarter. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Chris.
Check out Crit, Kickstarter, homebrewedheroes.com, or homebrewed.com. Homebrewcomics.com.
I got a little preview of his book, so it's super funny to see these and know that these are like actual people that are interacting in a D&D game, and that's how his stories are written is really funny because they're witty, their personalities come through, it's well drawn, the story is there, it's awesome. So if you like how did he explain it? What did he say? I forget the things that it was like Always Sunny in Philadelphia with 2 other things. I forget, but the humor and the action is there. Please go check it out. It's amazing.
That he's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Police Academy, and
what was the last one?
Oh,
I forget,
got
but
one
it
of
was
Police Academy.
It was spot on the way he described it. I was like, yes, I see 100% of these things. So very cool.
Ninja Turtles,
yeah. It was a good time. Well, Quentin, your picture looks amazing.
Thank you. Still work in progress, though. And here's a little funny note.
What?
He's not alone. Boop. It's Crom.
Oh, there he is.
Snorkeling while smoking.
Oh, man.
Crom is snorkeling, and there's smoke coming out of the snorkel. That's
amazing.
That's all I can tell you. There's smoke coming out of the snorkel. And
are we sure that's a snorkel?
Yeah, it's a snorkel.
Are you sure? Yeah. It's not something else.
And that's Christie's Crom. Look at that.
He's cool. The way you draw belly buttons, they're hilarious. The Audis.
We got Monster Crom.
It's a Monster Crom.
You got the other Monster Crom. We love crumb. Can I tell you?
Yeah.
In case you wonder who the heck is this guy over here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, it looks like clouds, but it's not clouds. That's definitely a face.
It's a face of a well-known villain from Namor called Atuma.
Yeah, that is. That's a Tuma. This the snake or the shark dude, right?
Yeah, he's a kind of not really a Thanos level villain, but every superhero has a villain much bigger than the hero is, and Atuma's quite big because he's kind of an underwater equivalent of Thanos, so to speak.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. I was like, I don't want to meet that guy. Nope.
Hell no.
So we're pushing the buttons. You do it.
Oh, in case you wonder what is this thing, that's a new tripod.
Yes.
Yeah,
You see
that's
there's
what
no
Pops was
cup,
saying.
right?
You gotta no more.
Did everybody notice that the cup is gone? Did you
Yeah,
all
the
notice?
cup's on.
There's
still
the
there.
cup. It's still there. So hasta la vista.
Now you can actually drink out of it.
Upgraded, moving up in life. There you
I want
go.
to see you drinking out of that cup now.
Gross.
You don't have to get a whole
Yeah, it's been what 2 years, 2 to 3
Wash it
years
first.
max. But it's made out of carton.
It's only got ink all over the rim. It's no big deal, right?
Oh, that's okay.
Use
Just do
raw.
paint water. Paint water. Oh, paint water.
Paint water. Yeah, delicious. You want to poop blue for a couple days? There you go.
Yeah.
Tanky.
Like if you poop red, it could be this, or you probably ate red dye. Oh well.
Yeah. It always scares you when your kid eats like too many blueberries and you're like, why is your poop blue? Oh, that's right, blueberries.
Yeah, it's like, why is your shit black? Oh no,
Yeah,
because
blueberries.
black is a number of problems, and they said, oh yeah, and you could have just eaten red dye.
Yeah. They're like, stop
the
eating
ink will-
beets. Beets will do it.
And the little ink molecules will say, again! After coming out, the guys.
Let's do it again. That was fun.
Again!
Right?
Well, guys, man, I didn't get to see Rich today. I was hoping he'd come on because I wanted to show him the pumpkin smash promo. Last week we were talking about the pumpkin smashing stretch goal, and we lowered it by like 50%. So it went from like 12,000 down to 6,000, which is totally doable. And I made a little video on it to kind of show people that, you know, we're serious. We want to smash. Like, I cannot smash pumpkins. I might do it anyway. But I mean, I'm not going to wear no red dress and heels if we're not getting the $6,000. Well, so that's the bonus you get. So seeing Rich in a red dress and a blonde wig and some full-on makeup and a stuffed bra, I'm here for that. Like, I will pee my pants. It will be so funny. So yeah, I can't wait to.
And the good thing
hopefully
about
get
Rich
there.
is he'll do it. He'll really do
Rich
it.
might still do it, but yeah,
He'll really do it.
After
He'll
all,
put everything on. He'll go out there and he will
just smash
smash whatever is available.
Why not?
Oh,
I know.
He's a man of his words.
He very much is a man of his word. I love Rich. He's a good dude. He's helped a lot of people.
The professor.
He's helped a lot of people get their books, get backers for their books.
Yeah,
he says a lot about me, but it's like he does a lot too. You know,
he does. He's so
Did a lot.
self-deprecating too, though. He's like, man, I'm just a schmoo, and then he helps people get their books funded. So
yeah.
Yep.
Well, what do you think, guys? Is it time?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
time.
I gotta get ready for Hide Hermit. Hide Hermit.
All right. You go help with like fucking hide the crab. Hide the crab.
Yeah.
Sounds like a personal problem. Anyway.
I was like, where are we going with this?
Awful. That's all you need to know.
It's funny.
Chris,
All right.
Nice to make you laugh. It is deep.
All right, guys. Well, I gotta go. I gotta rush off.
I see.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, see.
Thanks for stopping by. Thanks everybody for stopping by for another lovely Tuesday morning. It was kind of quiet today, but that was cool because we got to talk a lot to Chris, and I'm glad we did because it sounds like he's moving the same direction that we are. So maybe it was a good thing it was a little more quiet. So good times.
Yeah. I didn't know he was doing all that, and it's like
neither did I.
That sounds familiar. We need to talk.
Yeah.
But I felt bummed that Doc's power went out.
I know.
No,
Hopefully
there's
it's
a
all right,
tree limb down the street took out a line. He called.
Dang it, tree!
It's not
all
a house.
because of Groot.
Stupid tree.
Yeah.
I am Groot. Crazy Groot.
Today's
He needs to
Groot.
get trimmed.
I know
He needs to
Groot.
get trimmed.
All right.
So yeah, we got
it's time.
We got Hyde Hermit today. We got Ginge and Pedro later.
Yeah.
You know, we got some stuff for you as the day goes on. Make sure you tune in. Might be adding a couple other shows. Just saying. We're growing. We're gonna keep growing.
Yeah.
So, Laurie.
Thank you. Let me say goodbye to the people. Just remember, you can find me on Facebook, Path of the Pale Rider group. You can find me in the Zombies Live group. You can find me on Instagram at Path of the Pale Rider with an underscore underneath between all the words. You can find me that same handle on TikTok and my webpage, www.pathofthepalerider.com. You can also see me at Countdown Comic-Con this weekend in Fort Worth. So if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth area, come see me in person. I would love to take a selfie with you. It'll be my very first con, but my very first time with my own table. Marco DeFillo will be there with me. So if you're sick and tired of seeing me, but you want to see the artist behind Path of the Pale Rider, he will be there. He'll actually talk to you instead of just hanging out. Kind of shy. So usually he lets me do all the talking, which is work for us. So yeah, come see us. If you haven't had a chance to go over to Kickstarter and see Path of the Pale Rider issue number 2, we got all sorts of shenanigans going on. We got to choose your own adventure. We got mail cover. We got Funko Pop. We got it. You know what I mean? So go see which level works for you. We got about 12 days left. So we're at 88%. We're in that home stretch. We're about $500 and some odd dollars left. So I appreciate if you could get on there and help us get to the end and power through. That would be wonderful. We all sleep better at night once we hit that 100% funded.
Yeah, that's how that's supposed to work. We'll do what we usually do. We'll slam it. We'll get you there.
I don't know what just happened there.
What did you go?
I did not touch any buttons. My hands are here. Jazz hands. I mean, we got weapon hands too, but I didn't push any buttons this time. So, all right, let's wrap it up, peeps. We'll see you again next week right here on the Tuesday Morning Brew Comic Related Madness Network.
Peace out. Goodbye.
I'll push the button. Are you pushing the buttons?
I can push the buttons if you'd like.
Okay, you push the buttons. Just
Peace.
hands.
We've all heard the stories. We've all heard the legends. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid. But there's a secret history to the Old West. One that seems too strange to be true, but, well, we all know what they say about the truth. guns, blowing very big holes. Very bad people. I think the world is finally ready to hear the story of the strangest, the most startling Western hero of them all. Six-gun guerrilla. Long days of vengeance.
I'm still waiting for my hot sauce.
America's southern border has become a war zone. Human traffickers, drug smugglers, and terrorists flow across the Rio Grande with impunity, secure in the knowledge that no one will stop them. A distant federal government lectures Americans on their privilege while punishing overworked Border Patrol agents who were helpless to stem the tidal wave of invaders and determined migrants. Second-generation Cuban-American Marcos Zamora is a military vet, more patriotic than most Americans. No longer able to ignore the chaos at his doorstep, he acts. Joined by his best friend Gus, they hit the border every night, saving lives while stopping violent drug cartels and other opportunists. The government reacts with fury at Marcos' attempts to preserve American sovereignty, deploying the full might of their enforcement agencies. But Marcos understands that the only thing the rich and powerful fear is bad publicity, and he records every encounter. Whoever he is, this private American must be stopped. Illustrated by Richard Bonk and written by Eisner winner Mike Barron, Private American is his version of Captain America, and maybe a little Punisher, taking part in this ongoing, violent, and very real battle of good versus evil in the war for American sovereignty. Grab your copy at theprivateamerican.com.
We have a secure border, and that is a priority for our administration.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where was the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit